Hi, my name is Wolf Leisner, and my service learning project was volunteering at the Lincoln Bike Kitchen. Now, the Lincoln Bike Kitchen is an organization that provides bikes at no cost to at-risk youth and anyone who needs a bike for transportation. Part of their mission statement is that they want to provide a bike at no cost and also repairs and education about bikes to anybody that needs it. So there are three areas that they really serve, and one of those ways is Earn a Bike, which is where you can do 10 hours of service at the bike kitchen, repairing bikes or working there or doing whatever you can to earn yourself a bike. Or they have what they call open shop, which is where you have an existing bike that you just don't have the tools to work on. You can bring it in and work on it. And the last aspect is for youth under 13, you can just get a bike for free there. So part of what I contributed to doing there was my first day volunteering there. There were a lot of people there. So I was working at the front desk, greeting incoming volunteers, people that needed a bike, and people that were dropping off donations. So part of that was just me signing people in. They have a sign-in sheet and then just a small sheet where you write your name for the mechanic to fill out. So that's what I did the first day, as well as reorganizing a couple of their house items. The days after that, though, which is where we started working on bikes, so me and 1 to 3 other people would take a stand and grab bikes that people would drop off or bikes that had already been checked in and do a full service on them. So we take the wheels off, make sure everything's spinning correctly, check the chains, check the transmission, check the rear and front brakes, all of that things, and do a full service on them. So you do that with, like I said, about 1 to 3 people per stand. And we would try and get through about 3 to 5 bikes a day in our 4 hours of service. One of the interpersonal skills that we worked on a lot there was effective communication. And this is because not only do a lot of the people that bring in bikes come in not know a lot about the bikes, but often volunteers like myself for the first couple times don't know a lot about the bikes. So you need to be able to communicate effectively with those people. And a story I have about this is there was an older gentleman that came in that really didn't speak that great of English that had a problem with the rear tire on his bike. So I was working at the front desk and I had to try to explain his problem to one of our senior mechanics when I really didn't know what was wrong with the bike or really what he was saying. So I had to use communication skills to develop and move that problem out of the mechanic. Another issue that we work with was stress management, and this is just because a lot of people bring in bikes on certain days, especially sometimes they have bike drives. There will be 20, 30 bikes in a short amount of time. And then also it's a small area, so you got to kind of keep things moving efficiently in order to keep everything moving along and getting people what they need. So another problem that we had with stress management was the communication at the bike kitchen. For the first couple weeks of this course, it was really, really hard to get a hold of the people who were running the project, so we didn't really know when to start our service. So that was stressful, but it was kind of just being persistent and communicating with them in order to get started on our service. And then the last interpersonal skill that we really worked on a lot there was cross-cultural communications. A lot of different varieties of people would bring bikes in for donations and come to receive bikes. And there was a big variety of people volunteering there, both the senior mechanics and the students coming in. So a story about that was one day me and my friend Tommy were working at the bike kitchen, and afterward 3 students that were volunteering there from Lincoln needed a ride back to campus. They didn't have one there from another country. So that was a good way for us to get to know them, communicate with them, talk to them, and get to know them a little better, bringing them back to campus. So my overall evaluation of the Lincoln Bike Kitchen, I think it's a great organization that you can really see them giving back to the community on a first-hand basis. The volunteers there are very experienced and they're extremely helpful, and they all really enjoy the service that they do. So it's really a great place to work. If I could improve on one area there, it'd be the communication, especially with UNL students. It took us a couple weeks to really get in there and get started volunteering, but I think overall it's a great organization. So the interpersonal skills that I improved on the most personally were definitely, the first one was resolving conflict. Before the service learning, I pretty much avoided conflict at all costs, but after now I feel a lot more comfortable diving right into conflict and beginning to solve it. The second one is effective communication. Before the project, I really had few experiences in my own life where I was really challenged to communicate effectively, and there it was every single day with every bike that was brought in, you're challenged to communicate. So that was very helpful for me. And lastly, it was the cross-cultural communication. I went to a small high school in Nebraska, so beforehand, I was interacting with mostly people that had a very similar background to myself. And through the Bike Kitchen, I was able to interact with people from all sorts of areas. So all that being said, thank you very much for listening.